Yeah, running back nation, what is good? Sixers sickos, what is good? It looks like the Philadelphia 76ers will not be involved in the Dejounte Murray sweepstakes. Lakers deal centered around DAngelo Russell, 2029 first-round pick, and a pick swap for Dejounte Murray. The holdup was Atlanta looking for a third team to take on DAngelo Russell's contract. Expect both teams to get in discussions again as deadline gets closer. So the Lakers and the Atlanta Hawks are working towards a trade sending Dejounte Murray to LA. And it's really only going to cost the Lakers a 2029 first and a pick swap. So that tells us that the 76ers could have competed with that offer. They could have competed with that price tag. They could have upped the ante. They could have outbid the Lakers if they wanted to. They are clearly choosing not to. There's been no real talk about the Sixers and Hawks discussing Dejounte Murray. It seems that it's just fans like me and some others who believe that Murray was a good option for the 76ers at the trade deadline. Doesn't look like Daryl Morey thinks the same, and we're going to talk about Daryl Morey's comments that he had on the radio yesterday, but I just thought Dejounte Murray would be a perfect fit next to Tyrese Maxey as a bigger, more defensive combo point guard who can, play on ball, play off ball, and just kind of share the half-court responsibilities with Tyrese Maxey. I think there's a conundrum anytime you think about this because Tyrese Maxey is 23. He has developed a nice level of facilitating ability and point guard abilities. And so anytime I think you look at another point guard and bringing him in, it's kind of a conundrum because you don't necessarily want to slow down Maxey's development as the lead guard, So I know Daryl Morey loves Tyrese Maxey. Obviously, he refused to trade him a million times since drafting him, and he turns out to be right every single time. I'm pretty sure Daryl Morey doesn't want to take the ball out of Tyrese Maxey's hands. On the other side of it, Dejounte Murray probably wants to play for a team where he is the lead point guard, especially after spending so much time sharing the ball with Trae Young. Would Dejounte Murray even really be interested in coming to another team that has an all-star level point guard already on the roster? So that's why that didn't happen. Dejounte Murray's probably going to be in LA, and interesting to think about him and LeBron James together because, he probably wants to be the lead point guard, but any LeBron James-led team, you know who the real point guard is. It's LeBron James. So there's that. Now let's talk about Daryl Morey's comments. Oh, yeah, and Atlanta doesn't want DAngelo Russell. They want a third team to take on DAngelo Russell's contract. Some people were in the Discord saying we should trade for DAngelo Russell. The answer to that is absolutely not. No thanks. Microwave scorer, I guess. Guy that can get hot at times and give you some points, but can't play any defense. Isn't really a facilitator. Doesn't really benefit. I don't think he really contributes to winning that much. DAngelo Russell, who, if you're old enough of a Sixers fan to remember the days of the Sixers wanting to draft DAngelo Russell and the Lakers jumping the gun and the 76ers being stuck with, oh shit, I forgot his name, bro. It's Okafor, but what was his first name? Jahlil Okafor. Put it in the comments if you remember that. I remember it to this day. Anyway, let's move on. By the way, shout out to Sixers Galaxy on Twitter. Great Twitter page, man. They post some good stuff. Not really even a lot of followers yet. I don't know how new this page is, but they're my go-to for like some Sixers information when you want specific things like this. Daryl Morey recently appeared on 97.5 The Fanatic. Here are some notable quotes from the executive, a thread. All right, so here's all the important things that Daryl Morey said on this 97.5 The Fanatic radio interview. Okay, here's number one. I think we're one of the very few championship contenders. I think you have to say Boston is the favorite right now to come out of the East. It is a team that we focus a lot on. I do think Milwaukee also is right there with us. Me and Daryl on the same damn page, bro. We're on the same page. Fans overreact to losses. Fans overreact to performances when you're on a traveling back-to-back or when you're playing without a couple of guys and you get blown out by a mid-team or whatever. It's an 82-game season. Fans overreact to random regular season losses that don't really matter entirely. Myself, I focus on the big-time matchups, and I focus on, how you perform in the big-time matchups. And the Sixers wins this season over Boston Celtics. 1-point loss to the Milwaukee Bucks to start the season. Win over the Lakers, Oklahoma City Thunder. Solid win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Number one defense in the league at the time. Joel drops 51. Big-time win over the defending champion Denver Nuggets. The Sixers are contenders. So I agree with you, Daryl. And I think it's pretty dope how honest he is about certain things, like just flat out saying, I think you have to say Boston is the favorite right now to come out of the East. I think he's looking at depth probably more than anything. He's not looking at the fraudulent behaviors of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown like I always do, or the fact that they, traded away the heart and soul of their team to add Kristaps Porzingis. I'm not scared of the Boston Celtics at all, dude. I'm telling you, the Sixers right now can beat them in a 7-game series. I don't care what you say. Argue with your mom. Next one. Let's see. I think we got a sense of guys who have played enough minutes. Coach Nurse, we've seen players within his system and structure. We just had like a 5-hour meeting focusing on a trade deadline. So he said a couple of months ago that they were definitely waiting. After the Harden trade, they weren't going to flip things right away. He wanted Nick Nurse to have some time with these new players to see, find out who you can use, who you can't use, find out who still has something in the tank. I think Nick has gotten a lot more out of Nicholas Batum and Marcus Morris. Wow, I just predicted this. Nick Batum and Marcus Morris both are giving more than we probably thought going in. Nick has been maybe the best pairing with Joel Embiid for that kind of player since Joel has been here. I know Joel maybe feels that same way. I've said that a lot before too. But yeah, I was just going to say Nick Batum and Marcus Morris probably brought a lot more to the Sixers than anybody thought they were going to. Everybody thought they were just players that were thrown in that trade and were 35 years old and on the end of their careers. So shout out to that. Shout out to Nick Nurse for getting what he got out of those guys. And who knows if something happens at the trade deadline, if they're still playing the amount of minutes that they are playing. Marcus Morris specifically when I'm talking about that. Nick Batum, bro. God, I love this guy. I can't say it enough. I probably say it every time I talk about the Sixers, and I totally agree. He's such a high IQ player. The high-low with Joel Embiid, just the way that he plays the game, moves the ball, and just knows the right play to make all the time. I love Nick Batum, and I agree. He's the best pairing. He's the best stretch four that's ever been on the floor with Joel Embiid, and Joel's benefited from it a lot this season. A lot of easy buckets on the high-low, just getting Joe under the basket and Batum moving the ball. Daryl Morey says guys going into their fourth year can sometimes take a step up, and Tyrese Maxey did. It's been amazing to watch, and I think Nick Nurse basically saying, and Joel to his credit and his teammates, hey, you have the ultimate green light. That's been the thing with Tyrese Maxey this season, It's been, for a couple years now, we've been saying that he's the third option or he defers too much or whatever, but you got to think he was playing alongside James Harden. He was playing alongside, he wasn't really playing with Ben Simmons, but, a couple of seasons where he didn't have the ultimate green light, or at least Doc Rivers was telling him not to shoot because Doc Rivers is a goddamn idiot. I should have censored that one out. But yeah, Tyrese Maxey's got the ultimate green light this year, and you see what can happen with a player like that when there's just he's option 1B, If you want to shoot the ball, shoot it. If you want to take the ball to the rack, take the ball to the rack. You don't have to play second fiddle to anybody unless Joel's going for 60 or something. Then just keep giving Joel the ball. But, 26 points per game at 23 years old, averaging 6+ assists per game. You can't complain about Tyrese Maxey this season. If you are complaining about Tyrese Maxey this season, like that KK guy that I banned from the Discord 7 times, you're an idiot. What else Daryl Morey said? I give the same message to fans I gave before the season, before the trade deadline. Evaluate us at the right time, which is the playoffs, and how the team looks going into there. So Daryl's basically telling you stop watching the NBA until the playoffs start. Nothing actually matters. These games are completely meaningless. We watch it for entertainment and nothing else. No, the regular season matters to assess the team. Like I said, the biggest matchups is what I really look at. But he kind of said the same thing last year and then held on to, the trade lingered way longer than anybody wanted it to. I remember the beginning of the summer, he was like, don't evaluate us at the beginning of the summer. And then it was the end of the summer, and we're like, bro, you didn't do anything. You signed Mo Bamba. Although Patrick Beverley was a great signing in hindsight. What else we got here? One more from Daryl Morey. I love it here. It feels very similar to where I grew up and the passion for the fans I feel for everyone with the Eagles and Phillies, and I hope that Joel and the team can give Philly a lift. So there was no question about his boy, his best friend who he goes to crumble cookie lunch dates with, Tobias Harris. There was no mention of Tobias Harris because, of course, it's not like Daryl's going to sit here and say, yeah, I'm trying to trade Tobias Harris. I've been trying to trade him for 5 fucking years and nobody wants him. That's the truth about it. There was no question or answer about that. And that leaves me with one last point or question on this video. Do you think Tobias Harris is going to get traded? Because Tobias Harris, another 22-point game against Charlotte on Saturday. He's been playing good. He's been playing good at the beginning of the season. Played like shit for a while. He's been playing good lately. The past 5 or so games, he's been playing good. And so there's there's 2 things there. If Tobias Harris is playing good, do the Sixers hold on to him and say he's important for a playoff run? He's the X factor, as I said the other day, in a playoff run, because when he's good, the Sixers are very good. And when he's bad, the Sixers have to look to Kelly Oubre as a third option. And, it's just Kelly Oubre. It's not really a third option, right? So do you keep him because he's playing good, or he's playing good, so he actually now has trade value plus the $40 million expiring contract? Do you finally trade him at the trade deadline because he's playing good and he has trade value? Hashtag trade value Toby. I don't know. I know Daryl's number one thing is always what's best for the organization. That's why he's an executive. That's why he's been an executive for as long as he's been one. He had a best friend level of relationship with James Harden, and he made the right decision for the franchise, essentially ending a 10-plus year relationship that he had with somebody as a friend. So you got to kind of admire the dedication there. He didn't back down. He didn't give in to James Harden's wishes because his job is to do what's best for the team. So even though we say he likes Tobias Harris and he trolls on Twitter and he defends him, makes crumble cookie jokes or whatever else, I think if he thinks it's best for the team, he's going to trade Tobias Harris. I just don't know if Daryl Morey thinks Tobias Harris sucks as much as some of us do when he's bad. I think Tobias has a 2-point in 27-minute horrible performance, and Daryl just writes it off as, it's a regular season game, who cares? Maybe. Or does he really know in the back of his mind that Tobias Harris disappears in the playoffs quicker than literally anybody, and it would be best to move on? We'll see. That's all I got, man. Answer my questions in the comments, all right? And hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And tonight, Sixers Spurs on Playback TV. We'll watch 7'5", 19-pound Wembanyama versus the man who makes actual 7-footers look small, Joel Embiid. And that game has no meaning whatsoever because the Spurs are horrendous. I would expect it to be another third quarter blowout and everybody sits the fourth. We'll see what happens. Y'all have a great day.